Welcome to Philosophy Vibe. My name is George, and today I wanted to do a video that lists my top 10 most favourite philosophical fiction authors. Now, if you follow Philosophy Vibe, you will know that this channel is dedicated to philosophy, and I've previously done other videos where I list my top 10 favourite philosophical novels or philosophical movies, but this time I wanted to give you my top 10 author list. Who are the best writers of philosophical fiction? So, by philosophical fiction, we are talking about fiction novels that are packed with really deep philosophical themes, from the philosophy of religion to metaphysics to the philosophy of mind, philosophy of perception, free will, political philosophy, and more. Now, why an author would have made this list is, firstly, they will have a number of novels in their bibliography that really touch on philosophical themes. Not all of them, but they will have some. And in addition, these novels have to actually be good reads. They have to have a great story, great characters, be written really well. So, I'm going to go through the list, I'll explain why I think each author has made this list, and I'll also give you some specific recommendations of their books to read. So, if you're into philosophy and you're into literature, then sit back and enjoy Philosophy Vibe's top 10 authors of philosophical fiction. In at number 10, we have Kurt Vonnegut. This 20th century American author has written some extraordinary novels, and his blend of philosophical fiction into fascinating sci-fi secures him a spot on this list. Vonnegut really leans into the metaphysical themes in his books, especially around the philosophy of religion and free will, but there is clear social commentary and really it leaves the reader thinking. Some of his books are way ahead of their time, with a look into man's relationship with technology and AI and how this will develop, and in our current world we can see where we are heading and this direction we're on. It's just so fascinating to read this from a 20th century prediction of what life will look like. Notable books to check out from Vonnegut are my personal favourites, Slaughterhouse-Five, Sirens of Titan, and Player Piano. But this author has a deep bibliography and definitely one to explore. In at number 9 we have Ray Bradbury, another 20th century American author. Whilst his catalogue is not packed with philosophical fiction, Bradbury often touches on political philosophy in his novels, and he does so in such a great way. This, combined with his outstanding stories and writing style, means he definitely deserves a spot on this list. Bradbury is responsible for one of the greatest all-time political philosophy novels, Fahrenheit 451, and personally, one of my favourite books of all time. This has had such a lasting impression on politics and on media, and has truly become an important book for the Western world. Another notable work that you should check out is The Martian Chronicles, a great novel with political philosophy themes, as well as social commentary packaged up in a fun, awesome sci-fi book. Definitely check out these books, and of course, his wider catalogue. In at number 8 we have Aldous Huxley, the great British writer of the early 20th century. Huxley, who was actually a great philosopher and wrote some great non-fiction works, his deep mind and philosophical nature spilled into his novels, making him one of the best philosophical fiction authors of all time. Huxley was deeply involved in spiritualism and psychedelic experiences, so these heavy metaphysical themes are often presented in his works. Huxley's most famous novel is Brave New World, a dystopian vision of a futuristic society. This novel is exploding with philosophical themes. In addition, my other favourites and ones I definitely recommend are The Island, one of the greatest books on spirituality, and Time Must Have a Stop. Now, I know this video is about philosophical fiction, but whilst I'm here, I do need to recommend Huxley's essays, The Doors of Perception, and also Heaven and Hell. These will blow your mind. If you're getting into Huxley, make time for these as well. Moving on to number 7, we have Ayn Rand. the Russian-American author known for her controversial novels. So I know I'm going to get a lot of people moaning about this, as was clear in my other video. However, I cannot make a list of philosophical fiction authors and not include Rand. Firstly, on my top 10 philosophical fiction video, Rand by far is the most talked about author on that list. Some love her, a lot have very bad things to say. Nonetheless, her novels have sparked so much debate purely because they are packed with political philosophy themes and they really get everyone ready to analyse and debate and argue. This is the very hallmark of philosophical fiction. In addition, I do think her stories are interesting. I think her characters are great, and you don't need to agree with her stance on politics to enjoy a fictional novel. I get that she is controversial, but her books are definitely worth a read, if not for the many debates you will have about her. Notable books to read are Atlas Shrugged, Fountainhead, and Anthem. In at number 6 we have George Orwell, another of the great British writers and definitely one of the best writers of all time. Orwell has a way of writing that just glues your eyes to the page. His stories are incredible, but his writing style is clear. He always maintains a great pace and he has a way of building such amazing interest into every chapter of his books. He is seen as one of the most important writers of the 20th century because his books served as warnings of the political extremes that were prevalent at the time. His works very much are around political philosophy with very deep social commentary. His most famous book is 1984, one of the best novels ever written. In addition, I would strongly recommend Animal Farm and Keep the Aspidistra Flying. But really, you want to read everything this man has written, both fiction and non-fiction. Now we move into the top half of the list. In at number 5 we have Philip K. Dick, another of the great American authors and I would say the greatest sci-fi author of all time. Dick builds worlds that are just incredible and mind-blowing and you are just so lost in the amazing stories he tells. But also, his novels bring profoundly deep philosophical questions. Given the strong sci-fi genre, he touches on philosophical themes around metaphysics, the philosophy of mind, the philosophy of perception, consciousness, free will, but also a big focus on human identity and the changing reality, serving almost as a warning for the 21st century. Now, he does have a really big bibliography. There's a lot to choose from. Personally, I would say his best novels are Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Ubik, and A Maze of Death. Start with these and then focus on the rest, but these three are incredible sci-fi books and some of the best philosophical fiction you can read. In at number 4 we have Albert Camus, the French Algerian who undoubtedly is one of the greatest writers of philosophical fiction. Now, many consider Camus a philosopher, although he disagreed with the title. Nonetheless, he is considered one of the major philosophers of the European existentialist movement in the 20th century. Camus used his novels to convey and describe his branch of existentialism known as absurdism. This is just such a fascinating philosophy. Many of us, when studying philosophy, go down the nihilism and existentialism rabbit hole, but Camus uses his novels to extend those philosophies into absurdism, and what an amazing job he does. His novels are fascinating, such great reads, such remarkable characters. His most famous novel is The Stranger, but I would also recommend The Fall and The Plague. By the end of these, you will be fully immersed in existentialism and absurdism. Now we move into the top 3. Who takes the bronze? In at number 3 we have Franz Kafka. If you want dark, eerie, unsettling novels exploding with existential philosophy, look no further than Franz Kafka. His books will leave such a lasting impression on you. Each one I read, I just couldn't stop thinking about for weeks after. Kafka deals with such heavy themes around identity and alienation, but it's wrapped up in an anxiety-riddled existentialist philosophical narrative, making him one of the all-time greats of philosophical fiction. Notable works you absolutely have to check out are The Metamorphosis, The Trial, and The Castle. Please note that The Trial and The Castle were unfinished. I kid you not, The Castle literally ends mid-sentence. That is how unfinished it is. But honestly, I actually think the books are even more remarkable because of it. The fact that they are unfinished somehow makes them even better. It works with the anxiety that runs through the pages so well. Kafka is definitely one you should explore his complete works. Right, now we move to the second spot. Who gets the silver? In at number 2 we have Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is the 19th century Russian writer who is regarded as one of the greatest authors of all time, and there is definitely a reason why. Dostoevsky captures the human experience and the human struggle with words like no other can. Growing up in Tsarist Russia, surrounded by struggle and poverty, Dostoevsky harnessed this pain into his books. As a deeply religious and spiritual man, his struggle mixed with his profoundly deep beliefs resulted in magnificent works of philosophical literature that have and will live on through the generations. Dostoevsky is able to build characters, to create stories and write dialogue that deal with such spiritual battles that makes his novels a goldmine for philosophical investigation. Philosophy of religion, existentialism, nihilism, moral philosophy are all embedded in every page of his works. Crime and Punishment is one of the greatest books ever written and definitely the first book you should go to if you're getting into Dostoevsky. In addition, I strongly recommend The Brothers Karamazov and The Double, but really, you want to go through his entire catalogue. Dostoevsky is an amazing author and his novels are so profound and so interesting. Right, we've gone from 10 to 2. Almost ready to reveal number 1, but before I do, I want to mention a book by Philosophy Vibe that I think this audience would really appreciate. Now, you're watching this video because you have an interest in philosophical fiction, so please check out Requisite Release. This is a philosophical novel written for a philosophical audience. The story follows Simon, a young man battling severe depression and undergoing a major existential crisis. Simon no longer sees any purpose or meaning to life. His nihilistic worldview has consumed him, and as a result, he has become a social recluse, developed debilitating anxiety, and destroyed all significant relationships. Simon is recommended to undergo cognitive behavioral therapy and begins seeing the therapist Linda, who is tasked with trying to help put his life back on track. The book is a compilation of Linda's therapy session notes and Simon's journal log. This is the story of a young man's journey of self-creation and the search for meaning in an absurd universe. If you are watching this video, then you are a person interested in philosophy, deep themes and thought-provoking material. This is definitely the book for you. It is available worldwide on Amazon, the links are below, and all purchases really help out this channel and we really do appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Thanks for sticking with me so far, but we're ready to reveal number 1. So, Philosophy Vibe's number 1 philosophical fiction author is Hermann Hesse. If you want the most captivating stories written in such a beautiful, almost poetic way where you cannot take your eyes off the page, books you will devour, they are so powerful, and each one completely packed with philosophical themes, ideas and dialogues, then you need to get every book written by the Nobel Prize winning Hermann Hesse. He is my favourite author of all time. Firstly, he doesn't have a bad novel. He doesn't even have an okay novel. His books are either amazing or masterpieces. He writes like no other. Like I said, his novels are almost like poetry. They're not, but the words seem to jump off the page and roll through your eyes like silk on skin. Each word he uses is perfectly placed. The experience of his books is like magic. You are truly captivated. His words draw you in. You almost forget you're reading a book. You forget where you are, who you are. You are part of his novels. And boy, does he really go deep with his themes. When you're reading Hesse, you can expect philosophical themes around existentialism, nihilism, personal identity, free will, spirituality, ethereality. Now, as for notable works, I suggest reading everything Hesse has written. However, Steppenwolf is my single favourite novel of all time. This is my number one without a doubt. I strongly recommend everyone who hasn't read this to order a copy right after you finish watching this video. Other great ones to go for are Demian and Siddhartha. But start with these, and as I said, you will want to go through his entire bibliography. You will be so captivated and drawn into his works because Hermann Hesse is definitely Philosophy Vibe's number one philosophical fiction author of all time. So that's it. The top 10 authors of philosophical fiction. Let me know what you think. Do any of you disagree with my choices or rankings? Are there any other authors you would have chosen? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, if you want a modern philosophical fiction novel, please grab yourselves a copy of Requisite Release. You will really enjoy the book, and of course, you'll be really helping out this channel. The book's available on Amazon, and the links are below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share. And for more philosophical content, please subscribe to the channel. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.